Hey guys, welcome to the Marking Out Network. I am Neal Pretty Boy Thomas here tonight, a special bonus edition of the Marking Out Network podcast. I do have a special guest. Amanda is here. You want to say hi to all the people at home?
Hi guys. Hope everybody's ready to talk some wrestling and Smackdown.
We're more than ready. So first thing that comes to my mind is, why are you such a big fan of Cody Rhodes? You couldn't stop talking about him.
Oh my God, really? We're starting with this. We're
Yes.
starting with this. Okay. I don't hate Cody Rhodes. When he first started in WWE, he was obviously not used to his potential. Then he obviously left and he went to AEW and he did great things with AEW. But what I don't understand is how you're in AEW, you're completely shitting on WWE. Like, you came out in a pay-per-view with Triple H's throne, you broke it, and then all of a sudden you come back to WWE and everyone's like, oh, let's forget about that. That never happened. He didn't do that. Like, no. And you can't just come back after all the shit that you did and talked about WWE and think that you are going to be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns.
Okay.
No.
That's actually a fair point. But you think when he left, was it that on those bad terms? Was it that bad? Like, a lot of people leave WWE on really, really, really bad terms and end up coming back. They always, like WWE says, they always come home. Why can't he come home and come back and be successful?
He can come back and be successful, but I mean, I just don't think that it should happen like that. Like, if you're going to start another company, do all the things that you did, you cannot just come walking right back in and be like, oh, okay, nothing ever happened. That didn't happen. I didn't shit on your company. I didn't take the COO trademark throne, break it at a pay-per-view. No. Like, you got to work a little bit harder to earn that spot, I think.
Despite him being as popular that he is, that doesn't matter.
Okay, so he is obviously the most over baby face that WWE has. But for me, it personally feels like Roman Reigns 5 years ago when they were shoving him down our throats. So
Okay.
I just feel like I don't know,
You
but
think
that's just
Cody
me.
so Cody Rhodes is being forced on us too much because he came back, all the bells and whistles, got the tremendous pyro, got the best song probably in wrestling. He got everything you could ask for coming back. And you're saying it's
Mhm.
too much because what
Yeah,
happened with Roman is he was clearly going to be the heir apparent to John Cena. He was going to take over John Cena's spot because John Cena was kind of going on the way down. He was already on the way out. And then Roman was like, oh, God, Roman's going to be the next guy for the next decade or whatever. We knew that. We saw the fucking writing on the wall. We already knew that part. So you're saying
yeah,
Cody is in that spot right now, like pushing Cody too much. And then the fact that he has to pay the price for leaving and starting another fucking company, he's got to
yeah,
pay for the price. He should be commended
of
for it.
course.
They should be proud of him. He started a rival
Yes,
company, but WWE would never consider that. Okay, so if he started a rival company, quote unquote, AEW, he left, he came back. They could have said, no, Cody, we hate you so much. You could stay in fucking AEW. But why did they welcome him back then? If that was such a big problem, and if it's such a big problem, like, does WWE consider AEW even a threat?
they should.
They should, right? But to me, it's just like,
Mhm.
what you're saying is, I understand your point of view, but to me, none of that matters what Cody did in AEW. It shouldn't. It's how he comes
But
back
it should.
now.
No, I think it definitely matters. Everything that everybody says does matter,
It
whether it's
does, yes.
within their company or within another company. I just think that he shouldn't have walked back into WWE, got into the Royal Rumble, won the Royal Rumble. He came in at number 30 in the Royal Rumble and then won.
Because
Like,
guys haven't won the Rumble in a late number before.
I'm not saying that, but obviously that was a given that Cody was going to win.
Wasn't some numbers the most common number for wins was like 27 for a long time? Nobody gave a shit then. Like, if you knew somebody was going to win the Rumble it didn't really necessarily matter what number they came in at. But now it's a problem because he came at number 30.
I'm just saying he needed to work a little harder.
He didn't work hard enough.
No, not in WWE.
He didn't work hard enough to get a title shot and defeat Roman Reigns.
No, no.
So
Nobody is on the level of Roman Reigns. Nobody is on the level to beat Roman Reigns.
didn't Cody Rhodes defeat Seth Rollins 3 straight times?
That's not Roman Reigns.
But Seth Rollins is up there. He's an upper echelon guy. And to me, that's good enough. You beat Seth Rollins 3 straight times and a Hell in a Cell with the torn pec. To me, you're paying the price. That's going through some adversity.
And then at the same time, don't you see that as a way of WWE getting their revenge on Cody? How would anybody in their right mind let a wrestler wrestle with it? Do you think that Roman Reigns would have, if he had a torn pec and walked out like that, he would have wrestled in the Hell in a Cell match? Absolutely not. He would not. He wouldn't have lost. Like, he wouldn't lose. He wouldn't have gotten destroyed by Brock Lesnar destroyed by Brock Lesnar. There's reasons why Cody's going through all that. You think that they just forgot what he did in AEW? Nope.
I'm not saying they forgot, but to me, you shouldn't hold him against the guy because he is over. You said it. He is over. He's the ultimate babyface. Now, I get it. Should he be rewarded for all the stuff that he did the 7+ years? And look, the reason he left because they fucked him in the first time with that Stardust shit. So can you blame the guy? Can you blame Cody Rhodes for leaving? His career was in the toilet. He had to try to make Stardust work, and you're gonna hold that against him. Shit, to me, that's the adversity right there. You give me a Stardust gimmick. I mean, I gotta make the most of it, but I mean, hey, I understand what you're trying to say, but I necessarily don't agree with. Now, do you like the spot that the title situation is now? Would you consider this good, the alternative of what if Cody, because he didn't win at WrestleMania, now we have a champion who doesn't defend it. He's gonna go for the tag team titles, and then he's gonna go probably for the tag team titles at Money in the Bank, and then may defend the title at SummerSlam, and we don't even know who the fucking opponent is, and we're assuming it's Cody Rhodes, and everybody's assuming that it's gonna be Cody Rhodes going against Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, but we don't know that shit because how the hell is Cody gonna get back to Roman Reigns? He's got to win Money in the Bank. But do you like
He's not getting back to Roman Reigns. He's gonna win the second place prize.
You think he's gonna win the world title? Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Of course, because he's not gonna take it off Roman. Like
you were like firm on that shit. You were like, I'm not 100%. Budging on that.
No, he will not take it off Roman.
Okay.
And I feel that because Roman is such a loyal WWE diehard worker, that is the reason why he will not let it be Cody.
He won't let it be Cody. He has a decision in that.
Oh, you think that Roman doesn't have a say in it?
I'm not saying he doesn't have a.
Of course he does.
He doesn't have the carte blanche and the swag of the higher ups. But to me, I don't think it comes down to what he wants. It's what they want. And I think if they wanted him to drop the title,
he has a big say. He has a huge say.
He has a huge say. If they wanted him to drop the title at Mania, like you said, he's a company guy. He's a team player. He would have gladly have done it, and he could have took the month off vacation, and he could have came back. It would have been the same thing. Nothing would have changed, except Cody would have been a feud over the undisputed title with Brock Lesnar. And don't you think that would have been more interesting?
No.
You don't think so? Because Roman's gone most of the time anyways. What's making us interested about this storyline with Roman being the undisputed champion?
The bloodline. It has nothing to do with the championship. It's just Roman. Roman elevates the championship, not the other way around.
I understand. Okay, I get that part. Roman elevates the title, but if you put the title on Cody or even like Seth Rollins or somebody, I still think the title's important. It wouldn't be any less important.
It would be different. I don't know if I would say less important, but it would be the opposite way. It would be the title elevating Cody. It would be the title elevating Seth.
You do not like Cody Rhodes. You just don't like Cody. You just said the top face in the company, the title is going to elevate him. The top face in the company. That's crazy to think about because I'm thinking of all the top faces in company history. Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, they elevated the championship. I've never heard one
Yes.
time ever. I never heard one time ever that the championship is going to elevate them.
In some cases, it does. In Cody's case, I think it would.
Is that the
Because
only
like, truthfully, I don't see Cody as the face of the company. I
You
don't
don't.
see him being the person that if I'm not a casual, if I don't watch wrestling and I'm flipping through the channels trying to find something to watch and I see him on television, I'm not going to stay on that channel. But if it was Roman and I see Roman on that channel, I would.
Okay.
He just has that like that charisma that draws you to watch him.
The presence. He has that presence that draws you in.
Cody doesn't. Cody just
Cody,
stands there and whines and cries about, oh, my story's not done. Every single week, the same thing. Like, oh,
no,
get over
I
it.
get it. I get it 100%. So you're definitely not a fan of Cody Rhodes. I get that part. But to say that he can't be the face of the company, I totally disagree with. I think he does have charisma. He is talented. He can carry the company on his back. He's there all the time. That's important too, to be a champion. He's there all the time. He's glad handing. He's hugging and kissing babies. He's going to house shows. Roman doesn't go to house shows. So I'm thinking, wouldn't ratings more or less be the same thing if Cody was the champion than Roman was the champ? Because Roman's not there anyways. So what difference does it make? But you just said that you said Roman is more of a draw than Cody Rhodes is. But to me, I think it'd be a wash. I think ratings wouldn't change at all because it proves that people still watch the show even when Roman's not there, because we just had a month and a half of him not being there and ratings were fairly decent.
True, but sorry. Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm not saying that Cody cannot be
You
the
just
face
don't
of the
like Cody
company.
Rhodes. I'm not trying to convince you to like him, but I'm trying to make the argument that it wouldn't be such a bad thing. I think maybe you specifically, just got used to Roman being champ so fucking long. You can't see anybody else having that title now because it's been such a long time.
No, I can't. And like, honestly, I don't see anybody worthy of beating Roman right now. And I think maybe if like,
Well, isn't that
if
WWE's
Cody
fault?
keeps, sorry?
Isn't that WWE's fault if nobody's worthy to beat Roman? Isn't it their job as him as the top heel in the company to build up that top baby face, which I think it's Cody, but apparently you don't. So you don't think anybody's worthy of taking his title.
Cody is the top babyface in the company, yes.
Yes.
But I can't see him beating him right now. I'm not saying that he won't beat him in the future. I just think it needs a good, solid, like year-long story to get there.
A year-long story?
He needs that real, like, David and Goliath, I slay the dragon moment.
Okay. So he needs to go through Lesnar. He needs to go through all the top heels besides Roman and get through all that because I even said this on a previous episode of the podcast, like the story didn't end at WrestleMania. It only begun for him at WrestleMania. That's when the real story happened, because I'm trying to go in my mindset and how I'm trying to think and how I'm trying to plan and booking Cody Rhodes. The story began at WrestleMania losing to Roman because eventually he's going to come back and beat him. But you don't think that's going to happen at all.
I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I just think that it needed to be longer than just him coming back, winning the Rumble, and getting that title.
Okay, it was just too easy for him then. It was too easy for Cody to come back and do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't think somebody like Roman Reigns, who's had such a great reign of his title, deserves it to end like that.
To end at the main event at WrestleMania?
Yeah.
How else would it end?
Just because it's no, I mean, because it was such a short period of time for Cody. Cody needs to work for that and really earn that win from Roman.
It's funny too, because I remember when all these other wrestlers back in the day, they would win the WrestleMania or win the Royal Rumble, and then in their first attempt, they would win WrestleMania. It didn't happen all the time, but it happened. But now we're in the era of he needs to go through adversity because he can't just win the fucking belt.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I don't see the harm in that. I really don't. If you feel it's the right time, pull the fucking trigger. If you don't feel it's the right time, then we're gonna wait. But sometimes you're gonna miss those opportunities. You're gonna miss the opportunity to cash in when the guy's at his hottest. And I think in front of 80,000 people in the main event at WrestleMania, what bigger moment is that? I don't see a
There's
bigger
not a
moment
bigger moment.
unless they duplicate it again at WrestleMania 40. If he wins at SummerSlam, it'll be great. It'll be fantastic. But I just think that that moment could have happened sooner and it wouldn't really make a difference. That's just how I see it.
Mm. If anything, Roman's gonna be Roman 3 belts by next WrestleMania.
You want to talk about that, huh?
When he takes the 3rd belt from Cody Rhodes.
Oh, so Cody's winning the World Heavyweight Championship, and then it'll be a title for title situation, and then Roman's gonna win that title. Oh, and by the way, he already has the tag team titles too now. So so Paul Heyman's gonna have to come out in a fucking wheelbarrow of just belts.
He'll take the women's tag titles because those are cursed. So he'll just
he could just be like, just give it to me, Liv or Raquel or whomever who gives a shit. Nobody cares about those belts anyways. So
no.
Roman, and win their Continental title, he can defeat Gunther. He can go for Austin Theory.
Gunther, I think, would be a great person to defeat Roman.
Okay, we could talk about that too. That's actually interesting because I was just mentioning earlier to somebody that I could see Gunther being in the main event of a WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Maybe not night 2, but night 1 for the undisputed title or even the world title now, even though it's the 2nd place belt. But I could see Gunther being the top heel and the top guy in the company, even though I think if Gunther wins it, I think it would be better him as a face because he's starting to get cheered now. If you notice that, they're not booing him. They're booing the other 2 guys in Imperium, but they're not booing Gunther anymore. So I think Gunther would be a good guy to be the main event at WrestleMania. He's clearly elevated, like you mentioned. He's elevated.
I just don't know how he would be a baby face.
He could do the same things that he's doing now, just not insult people and stuff like that, and still carry himself with that presence that he always does. I think he'd be a good baby face. Maybe like not a pure like Cody Rhodes type baby face, but a guy that says minimal. He goes in, puts in the work. Because if you look at his matches, they cheer his matches. It was with Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, banger after banger. So he's putting the work in. He's obviously carried that Intercontinental title better than most people have in the last decade. So I totally agree with that. Gunther being champion, I'm down with that. His title reigns are fucking long too because his UK title reign was 800 fucking days, and then you have this one is like 400 days now or whatever. I don't even know the number, but his title reign is really extensive. So, do you like Grayson Waller? Because I do like Grayson Waller. The Grayson Waller effect.
I don't watch NXT, so I don't really know who he is or like what the Grayson Waller effect is. I am assuming it's some sort of like Miz TV talk show type.
Yeah, it's basically a talk show. It's just a talk show.
Yeah. Like they keep doing these talk shows and I don't see the point of them. It's the same thing. You bring out a guest and they get kicked or punched in the face at the end, and
you think it's just because it doesn't serve a purpose other than just to create a feud with somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That actually happened on.
But wait, is Grayson Waller he's Australian, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I have seen it.
I'm sure you've probably seen some of his stuff. I don't know, at some point.
Yeah.
You can watch NXT, but I thought he was really good. He has a way he drinks from a boot. It's the Grayson Waller effect, and he drinks from the boot.
The shoey. Yeah,
the shoey. Yeah. So he actually did what you don't like doing. He actually had AJ Styles on a show. And
it was boring. Like I was trying to watch it. I'm just like,
this
is not exciting.
So now we're gonna have a Grayson Waller AJ Styles feud going forward.
Yeah.
You insulted him saying Seth Rollins was gonna win the World Heavyweight title at Night of Champions. Let me ask you about did you watch speaking of SmackDown here, the Brawling Brutes versus Pretty Deadly? What do you think about Pretty Deadly? Do you like them? You don't know enough about them yet? You want to see more of them, not more of them? What's up?
Yeah, I don't know enough about them. I mean, on Twitter, people seem to be pretty excited about them. So I will have to pay a little bit more attention when they
Okay.
wrestle.
I mean, it's fresh faces. They're a couple young
Yeah.
guys trying to make a name for themselves, and I think they'll.
They kind
Oh,
of give the oh my god, what's their name? The Fashion Police.
okay.
They're giving off those
Breeze
vibes.
Dango, Breeze Dango.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah, that's the vibe I get from them.
I kind of compare them to like Edge and Christian a little bit,
No,
just in their
I don't see that.
early promo days. No, and being silly and fun and goofy. No,
I mean, again,
something's
like I
there.
haven't seen I
Something's
haven't
there.
seen a promo or something from them.
Yeah,
Cute.
spilled milk. I don't know if I like that name though.
No, I don't. It doesn't. I don't get why Pretty Boy spilled milk. Doesn't make sense.
No, I don't know. I don't know why they call that. I when I saw him in NXT, I didn't get it. I didn't really understand what they were trying to do, but I think
Hmm.
I might be more on board the more I see him. I don't like their fucking ring gear. I just don't. I,
No,
I'm not really digging that, but I think maybe over time
I
I'll warm up to them eventually. They might grow on me too, because there's been a host of wrestlers that I didn't really like in the beginning, and they kind of grew on me. So I mean, I think I
yeah.
could get down for Pretty Deadly eventually, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
We'll find out. I mean, they won their
Yeah,
match.
their ring gear kind of looks like they would be a jobber, but they're not.
It's like that crop top thing, like
Yeah.
boss. Like I wouldn't wear that as a wrestler. Granted, I would be flamboyant maybe, but I wouldn't wear that
Mhm.
like that. But it works for him. It works for him.
Yeah.
And they won their match too, and I think that was kind of predictable. Beating the Brawling Brutes with Sheamus doing
Hmm.
commentary. Obviously, you just called up an NXT tag team. You're not going to have them lose, because then if you call up somebody from NXT and you have them lose right off the gate, the main roster audience that only watches Raw and SmackDown, they're like, who are these guys?
I
And
would
why should
have
we care?
I would have thought that they were a jobber if
Yeah,
they lost.
if they lost, and then you're gonna forget about them the next week. So I think all
Yeah.
these NXT call-ups like Zoe Stark, McDonough, Cameron Grimes, Pretty Deadly, I think they're gonna have
Hmm.
some early success, and they're gonna see how they do on the main roster, and probably go from there. Who do you think?
Yeah.
Who do you gonna think is gonna be the most successful on the NXT call-ups? Who do you think has like the brightest maybe future? Maybe it's too early to tell, but who do you think is gonna be like? I could see them being champion or main eventing or something like that.
I hope Cameron Grimes. From
Yeah,
what I did see from like the takeovers that I watched, I liked him a lot.
to
So
the
I'm
moon,
hoping
right?
him. Hmm?
To the moon.
Sure.
So he says to the moon.
Oh, and no, to the moon he'll go.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's his catchphrase. I'm I like Cameron Grimes. I'm not like super into him that way.
Hmm.
I did like the gimmick when he got rich, or he won the
Hmm.
lottery, or what was it? He
Yeah.
was off for a long time and he ended up cashing in on he got rich because of crypto. I think that was it.
Hmm.
I thought that was kind of fun. That was clever. You could do a lot of stuff with that. I thought that was funny. And but he just seems like he's just reverted back. He ditched that gimmick and he's just reverted back to the old early Cameron Grimes from NXT. And
Hmm.
I think he has something to him, and I think the people can latch on to him. I like Zoe
Yeah.
Stark. I think she's the best call up, honestly. I think she's a
I'll
really
look
good
out for
wrestler.
her. Is she on Raw or SmackDown?
She's on Raw. She's on Monday Night Raw.
Hmm.
But yeah, I
Okay.
think she's a really good wrestler. And if she didn't get called up from NXT, she might have won the title, but I don't know. I think she belongs on the main roster because she's ready. Because they got a lot of young girls down in NXT that need to learn more and hone their
Hmm.
skills. But she was beyond that point already, so that's why she got called up. The main event was Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar versus the Usos. Now you said something. What did you tweet out or did a video? What did you say about the W again? What was that?
I said that the W is standing tall tonight in LWO.
Doesn't it feel good for you personally and everybody else a fan of the LWO to finally get a big win?
Yeah, that had to be the biggest win of like, well, I mean, they haven't been what they've been around since Mania, so a couple months now. So
There's
yeah.
there's been a lot of instances where I think I posted their record. It was like 1-11, 2-11,
Yeah,
13.
they've had not a good record.
No, they haven't. And it's kind of, it gets to a point where it's just like, all right, you form this group. You have the Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio. You have LWO who's selling t-shirts like they're going out of freaking style, like hotcakes. And then you're having them lose to the Judgment Day constantly, having them lose to the Bloodline constantly. And it's just like, God damn, man, like you want them to succeed. You want this to see them be successful. And getting a win
Yeah.
in the event of tonight of SmackDown over the Usos, who don't get pinned anymore, but they've been on a losing streak. And
Oh yeah.
that's a big win for the LWO. Where does it take the
Mhm.
LWO? It gives them, it may, I don't know if it'll take them to the tag team titles or anything like that, but what it does do, it gives them credibility because they beat the
Yeah.
Usos, who were the longest reigning tag team champs of all time, and many consider the greatest tag team of all time. So that's actually a huge
Mhm.
feather in their cap. So it's a big deal.
Definitely.
It's a very big deal. Now, do you see the cracks like Sami Zayn has been saying in the bloodline? Do you see that on
Oh my God, yeah.
horizon?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
even you see, like as you said, like the Usos haven't been pinned, and then all of a sudden now, recently they've been taking losses the last 2 weeks in SmackDown, and then even with the beginning, the intro promo with the Bloodline and Sammy and Kevin, and Roman got frustrated, goes to leave, and bumps into Solo, and then that there was that moment.
It was
Like
like
you see the Bloodline is
it was
cracking.
kind of an awkward moment. It was like, "Ooh, I'm sorry," and he was just like, he looked like he wanted to apologize, and then he was like, "I just better go," and then he just left.
Yeah.
And then Solo stood there real firm and tall. He didn't budge. He's like, he looked down in his shoulder. And you know what it reminds me of too? It reminds me of like the high school days when you're walking down the aisles and then you just blasting somebody in the shoulder, like, get off me, man. That's what it
Mhm.
that's what it kind of reminded me of. Like, he did it by an accident, but if somebody did that to me by an accident, I'm gonna stand my ground and hold firm and then show my dominance to get him to keep fucking walking. And that's what Solo did. He didn't budge at all, not even to the tribal chief. And that's
No, and I think that's going to be the big break, is that it's going to be Solo who's going to be the one to turn on Roman.
okay. It's not Jay.
No.
You think Solo's going to turn on Roman first before Jay, even though they've been building this Jay Roman thing for years now, since a pandemic era, Thunderdome era.
Yeah. So I think it's because Solo is so, they're pushing him as this big powerhouse, quiet guy who does nothing. He's just silent and destroys people, right? And he's actually brothers with Jimmy and Jay,
Yes.
right? So if Roman steps too far to Jimmy or Jay, that's when I think Solo's gonna turn.
So you don't think there's any honor among any of them?
There's honor among the three brothers.
Okay, the three brothers. Okay, all right. I see what you're saying. All right.
Mhm.
I think this is how I perceive it. Like, say in the tag match in between Roman, Solo, KO, and Sami Zayn, shit's gonna go down. You know there's gonna be some kind of interference. I'm pretty certain there is. If things go sideways, if Jay attacks Roman for whatever reason, I think Jimmy will act on it too, because I think Jimmy follows what Jay does. If Jay
Yes.
doesn't do anything, because you know, last week when Roman was pushing Jimmy, Jimmy was just kind of laughing it off. He's like, "Oh, that's just cuz being cuz, and that's Roman being Roman. It's not a big deal. Get over it. Whatever, man, whatever." But then Roman crossed the line and started pushing Jimmy, and then Jay acted on it. And now if Jay acts on Roman, Jimmy will too. Now if Solo acts on Roman, I think all bets are off at that point. I think if the
Yeah.
floodgates are gonna fucking open and Roman is done for, he's gonna be he's gonna be nixed. And I think he's gonna be buying, they call it the island of relevancy, right? And I
He'll
think
be
he's
on the
gonna,
island alone.
yeah, he's gonna be by himself eventually because he's gonna alienate and disenfranchise everybody that he's come across. And I think that's gonna be the end of it. We haven't seen that yet, but Sami Zayn is so
Well,
confident, cracks in the bloodline. He keeps saying that over and over again. And he's real arrogant too in the promo tonight, saying, "You're not as good as us. You're not even as good as the Usos, and you're not going to beat us." And Sammy was very smug about it too. And I
mhm.
think that's that's something to look forward to. I just don't like the fact that Roman's in a tag team match at Night of Champions. I just don't feel like he should be going for the tag team titles. But I think in the end, it just becomes about the bloodline and how they're going to react in their whole feud and all that kind of shit. It's not about the undisputed title right now, even though you would like to see him defend it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely that match has nothing to do with the titles. That match is just going to be the split of the bloodline.
Oh, you think it's going to be the end?
Uh, okay, so the earthquake to split the bloodline. It'll
Okay,
just
so
start the split.
maybe the tremors.
Yeah.
You just feel the ground shaking. It's not really the earthquake, but you think once you don't think they're going to win the tag team titles, and you just think this is going to be probably the start of the breakup. The breakup officially happens maybe at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see that happening.
I just think the bloodline story, they've dragged it out so long. I
Oh, no,
find
no, no.
myself getting disinterested.
Oh, you're insane. It's like the best storyline they've ever done
I'm glad you say they, like
in
WWE is
WWE.
done. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I find myself getting bloodline fatigued. I sometimes I tune out, especially when Jimmy and Jay are talking, or when they're talking to Sammy and KO, and Sammy kept talking to Jay, and then Roman and looking all serious in the locker room. I just find like it's been going on for such a long time. You need some resolution. You need a finality to it. It seems like it's a
Mhm.
never ending storyline. I know it's the best storyline they've ever done in the last 20 years, but I would want it to speed up a little quicker. But that's just
Mhm.
me. It's just not that I have ADD, but I just feel like it needs to come to the conclusion sooner than later. I hope this is the last year, and not just, this shit's going to carry on until next year. But
No, I can't see
knowing
it carrying on to next year.
knowing how I'm going to say Vince McMahon probably and Triple H are, they're going to continue this for a long time.
The cursed women's titles.
The
So
women's
apparently
titles.
they're
Oh man,
vacated.
almost forgot about that.
Yeah. Wonder why. They're so forgettable.
Yeah, no, it totally was like right over my head. I was doing some other stuff and I saw the graphic on the television, and it was like, oh, they're gonna have a fatal 4-way tag team tournament for now the vacated women's championships. And I looked at it and I'm like, that's great. And I went about my business because
Yeah.
it it's irrelevant. Do you know the teams in
It's
the
so
and you know the teams in the match?
nope. I couldn't even tell you for women's wrestling, like women's tag teams in WWE. Like Shayna and Ronda.
Yeah, that's
No.
one.
Mm, yeah, I don't know. Like legitimate tag teams, not just thrown together.
Would you say Bailey and Io Sky are thrown together?
Oh, okay, yeah, that's I would say more Io and Dakota Kai as
Dakota Kai's
Bailey should
injured
be.
now too, so
Oh, of course. Okay. So
she
then
seems
yeah.
like she gets injured more often than not. I don't know. That's not insulting her by any means. She can't control that stuff, but it just seems frequent, and it's not
Yeah.
good. It's kind of sad. I don't want to see a wrestler ever get hurt or get injured. I don't wish that on anybody, but it just seems like it happens
Hmm.
more often than not, especially with her recently. So,
Yeah.
who do you think Raquel's partner is going to be in the Fatal 4-Way?
Oh, she's in it?
Yeah, she is.
Why? Then why not just have like a four-way of just single women to be her partner and take that belt?
Wait, what? Say that
Like
again?
instead like just have four single women fight and they get to win the second championship.
Okay. I
And
mean,
then they
that's the way
just
to
get to
do it.
form a partner.
Okay. I don't know how.
WWE loves to throw together tag teams
Oh, they
anyway,
do. They do it
so
all the time. They do it all the
why
time.
not?
I don't know who
Ugh,
her
why
partner's
is
going
she
to
in
be.
it? I don't like her.
Who?
I'm not a Raquel. She does nothing for me. Like nothing about her excites me. She just flexes her back and she's tall. Okay, cool.
That's the
Move
extent
on.
of it. No, I totally agree with you. I think I've talked about her extensively before. I feel like she doesn't have a gimmick. She doesn't have a personality. She's boring. Not to say she's not
Yeah.
a bad wrestler or a good person in general. I'm sure she is. I'm sure she's a delight.
Yeah.
But for me, when I'm watching a wrestling match and when you come out smiling and flexing your back, I'm thinking that's cool. That might work on the indies. That's
Hmm.
cool. Like if you're doing an indie show and you're trying to make a name for yourself, and she's big, she has a presence, she's strong. But when you're in WWE,
Hmm.
you're supposed to be the elite top wrestlers in the world, quote unquote. And
Yeah.
how you come out is smiling and flexing your back, and you have no gimmick and no personality. To me, that's not a reflection of her, but it's a reflection of people that need to work with her and develop something so she can
Yeah.
present more entry. To me, and any promo she's ever talked, she's never said one thing interesting ever, not one memorable line ever.
No. No. Not
And,
no. Nothing.
and when she was NXT champ down in NXT, when she was a heel, she didn't talk much, but she didn't smile. I like that Raquel more. She was
Mm.
intimidating. And I think maybe at that point, give her a manager, just be a
Yeah.
force, a brute force. I think that would be better. But yeah, like you said, Raquel doesn't really do it for me. And I don't know why they keep putting her in the tag teams. It this She was a tag team with Aaliyah. How did that go? A tag team with Liv, semi okay. I mean, some people liked it. I was already kind of bored by it. I was like, all right. I think because Liv has so much personality, they were trying to
Yeah.
kind of give that Liv rub to Raquel and elevate her more. It just didn't translate. It didn't
No.
translate. It didn't translate
It
at
did,
all.
it did the
And
opposite effect.
it did. It felt like it brought Liv down
Hmm.
because Liv was on fire in
Completely.
2022, and then her being in attack
Yeah.
right now, it seems like you take a step back. But they're gonna have
Hmm.
somebody pair up with Raquel, a random person. I'm trying to think. Technically, Raquel's on Monday Night Raw. I'm Who would be a good tag team partner with her? Um,
I was gonna put someone like Natalia or Dana Brooke.
Natalia's gonna feud with Rhea. God bless her heart.
Oh God, yeah, that's right.
I
That
don't know.
won't
Maybe
last long.
Piper Niven. I don't know. I like Piper Niven. Maybe she could tag up two big strong women like that tagging up. That'd be a force. That might be something interesting. But what do you think about Natalia now that I mentioned her name?
Um, it's hard to talk bad about Natalia because she's Natalia Hart, right? Like
Yeah.
she's probably the best technical women's wrestler that the WWE's ever had. But personality wise, she's just like like what?
No,
There's
I
nothing
completely
exciting about
agree.
her on the mic.
She's a very good technical wrestler, but her personality and she's very forgettable in
Yeah.
that regard. She's not somebody that she doesn't draw your attention when she has a match where you're like, yeah, we got a special. My tag team partner is, and Natalia comes out, and you're like, oh man.
Hmm.
And then she's like an open challenge for the Raw Women's title. Natalia comes out, you're like, oh,
Yeah, you just
it's
know
not.
that
And
she's
she
not
does it
winning.
all the time. That's the problem. She does it all the time. She's done this for such a long time. Like she always ends herself in elimination chamber. She's always in a Royal Rumble. She's always in a 4-on-4 women's match. She's always in a triple threat, a fatal four-way. And now
Hmm.
she's not going to be Raquel's partner, but she's going to be inserted somehow. And I think was it last week when Rhea was like, gloating how good she was or whatever, and Natalia comes out, you're like, really?
Yeah.
You're like, really, Natalia? You're gonna be the one to defeat the hottest female you got right now. Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Now that I think about Natalia, I don't want to get on a thing right about just talking about females, but and like not bashing them. But I just want to know your opinion on what do you think about Dana Brooke? What do you think about Dana Brooke? You have any opinion on her?
No.
No,
She's just like a like a wet rag.
that's a way to describe her. What do you mean by that?
Like she's just there. There's nothing exciting about
So she's
her.
like the wet rag, like on the table, that shouldn't be there, or it's like the wet rag in the sink that's supposed to be
Um,
there and just there. But a wet rag or like a wet towel, like you just got out the shower and you put the towel on the bed, you're like, that doesn't belong there. Let me grab that real quick. Or what do you mean by that?
yeah, she's like the wet rag that you just carry around and put in different spots, and it shouldn't be anywhere really.
A wet rag in your pocket, like that doesn't sit right with me.
Doesn't belong here. Yeah, I don't know where she fits in. Like,
That's that's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it. Oh, I'm gonna use that shit. A wet rag in your pocket. You're like, this is not right. Like I mean, if it was dry, it would be okay, but it's wet now. Now
yeah,
my pants are wet, and then my pocket's wet, and it's slightly uncomfortable. Like, should I change my pants or should I keep them
yeah.
on? It'll dry eventually, but I'm like doing stuff and it's kind of bothering me. So that's Dana Brooke. She's kind of bothering me, and I just want to get rid of her somehow.
Mhm.
That's what you're trying to say? Okay.
Nothing against Dana,
No,
but
nothing
as a
against her.
wrestler character,
Character wise, yes. Character wise,
yeah.
yes. And I think that's the common denominator. I think what we're getting at Raquel, good wrestler. Natalia, good wrestler.
Mhm.
Dana Brooke, she can put on a good match because I've seen it. But
Yeah.
when she came out a week or so ago against Rhea Ripley, and she cut a promo saying, "You're gonna see what all this untapped potential could be." No,
We did
sorry,
not.
girl. No, no, we're not. No, we're not. It didn't get off to a good start. She tried high fiving a kid in the crowd. Didn't high five her back. And
Yeah.
that's a bad sign when you're a WWE superstar and the kid was like, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
And then the match lasted, I think it was a minute 47.
Hmm.
Oh for 3, Dana. But again, she works hard. Do you
It
find
is.
watching AEW a little more rewarding now than WWE overall?
Totally. I
Yeah.
mean, AEW wrestling, 100%. The wrestling is by far and none 1,000 times better than WWE's got. But their storylines are, eh. They don't really have many storylines except for right now what they have MJF and the Four Pillars, which isn't, to me, I don't love that storyline. The Four Pillars of those guys are not the Four Pillars of AEW,
Apparently they are.
but they're not. No,
Who would you put as the four pillars then?
the Elite. I would put Cody in there. Cody, the Young Bucks, and
But
Kenny
they
Omega.
started the company.
That would make you a pillar. You're holding up the
But
house.
I think the way they speak on the four pillars is not the people that started the company, but the people that were first to be signed and the foundations to build that company off of. I think that's what they determined the four pillars to be. It would be easy to
Mm.
give it to the Elite and Cody Rhodes because they're the ones that founded the company. That would be the easy thing, right? But I think the
So how's
foundation,
Jericho not in there then? Jericho should be a pillar.
then there's five pillars.
Jericho should be the whole pillar. There should be
He,
just one
he,
pillar, and it should be Jericho then if it's based on wrestlers you're signing.
okay. No, that makes sense. But I think they want to go more of a younger route
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
because
I
you
just
can
think they
build
should have
because you're
said
the pillar is holding something up and the company is on top of those pillars and you're putting that company on top of those pillars.
Orange Cassidy.
Really? Or you would say Orange Cassidy's a pillar too?
Yes. Uh,
You named like 8 pillars. Give me 4 that you put. 4. Who are you defining 4 pillars? They say you're not into this match, and I want to talk about something else. But I want to. Who are your defined 4 pillars? Give me your 4 pillars of AEW.
but I'm not allowed to use the people who started the company, right?
No, you can't because the definition of a
Fine.
pillar is a foundation you can build the company off of.
Chris Jericho,
Okay.
MJF,
All right.
um, Hangman,
Okay.
mm, And I gotta go Orange Cassidy. I'm sticking with my Orange Cassidy.
I'll be honest with you, that's actually pretty good. That is really good.
It
You
is.
said Orange Cassidy, MJF, Chris Jericho, and Hangman Adam Page.
Hmm.
Okay. So no Jungle Boy. He's out. Darby Allin, sorry. Thanks for playing. Sammy
He
Guevara.
could
No.
he could be like those are like the bricks that go around those four pillars. Or the roof. They could be a roof and the pillars are holding up.
Okay. I'm trying to think of a pillar and what you would put around it. I guess I don't know if you put bricks around it, or I think
I
a
know.
pillar is just kind of like the columns that you would see in like ancient Greece,
Yeah, so like a little roof
mythology,
or
right?
something.
They would be
I
like
don't know.
maybe I don't know, the art pieces around the pillar. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to
Post
explain it, but that's a good way to
it.
put it. That's a good way to put it. But
Mhm.
no, your four pillars is really good. What do you think about the now you said the storylines were just okay and you're not digging the four pillar storyline. What about the elite versus the BCC?
Okay, that's their bloodline storyline. That they can run for a long time.
Okay.
The BCC is incredible. Like they are just such a force,
Yes.
and the elite is the elite. Like what can you say about the elite that
Yeah.
hasn't been said, right?
Hmm.
So like, whoo, take all my money. I cannot wait to see what they're gonna do with those guys.
You really have this is kind of a rare instance. You really have two elite, no pun intended, two elite groups, and then there's no kind of like bullshit guys in the group. You know what I'm saying? Like
No,
I guess you would say the weakest guy is Wheeler Yuta, but he's been holding his own
yeah,
too. Like literally every guy in that group is like a main event level guy.
yep,
And
literally
that's I can't remember
crazy.
instances of being that way. You had Evolution, you had DX, you had the Bloodline, who's always in main events, but it's very rare where you have two dominant heavyweight type groups colliding together like that. And that's what's really
Hmm.
important. And Tony Khan's got to realize that too, because these times don't come around as often. Because Kenny Omega, he ain't no spring chicken anymore. He's not going to be around forever. Moxley, the way he wrestles, who knows?
Oh my god, yeah.
Brian Danielson. Oh, did you hear about Brian Danielson being he's going to be one of the head creative guys for AW Collision?
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
That'd be cool. Good for him.
I think that's really good sign. I think he has probably a good creative mind, and I think he's going to probably do well
Yeah,
for the show.
totally.
Yeah, I'm kind
Now
of
I'm looking even more forward to Collision.
yeah, and I think that's a good. Now I don't know if would he have. I don't think he had a creative control over his own storylines or other people's storylines. I didn't really read much into that, so I'm thinking
Hmm.
how is that going to play out? Because a wrestler, an active wrestler, being in charge of creative, that can get a little
Yeah.
dicey sometimes. Generally, that doesn't work out well. But Chris Jericho's
Hmm.
in charge of creative, and he helps out talent, and it seems like to be working with him. But
Yeah.
did you see the match between him and Roderick Strong on Dynamite? What did you
Loved
think?
it.
You did
That was
like
such
that?
a cool match. I loved it. I love that they pushed it to the outside of the whole stadium, so that Adam Cole could interfere. I thought that was good. I'm also very excited to see Chris Jericho and Adam Cole's match. I think that'll be
Yes,
a banger of a match.
it will be. It will be a banger of a match because Adam Cole's got to get redemption and revenge out what Jericho and the Outcast did to his Britt Baker.
Hmm.
They beat the shit out of her, and he's gonna want payback for that. That what happened between Roddy Strong and Chris Jericho's. It was a fun, great match, and according to
Hmm.
PageMatch.net, I look up ratings and shit. It's like the greatest match of all time. But my point being is that's not satisfying enough because Cole is gonna beat him, and I'm gonna say it right now. I think this is gonna catapult once he does fight Chris Jericho. It's gonna catapult him into the AEW Championship realm era.
Yeah, which
It's
is why
time.
Chris Jericho is the main pillar of that company, is because anybody that gets to go into a feud with him gets that major, major push, and he does it for that wrestler.
Okay. It worked out okay with Ricky Starks. Remember Ricky Starks had a feud with Jericho?
Yeah, I think Ricky Starks could be a huge star.
Yeah.
I just don't think that they're booking him in that way yet.
You don't think they're booking him proper enough to be elevated to be a main star yet? He's feuding with Jay White, who's a former New Japan Pro Wrestling champion. Jesus Christ, he beat Okada before. I mean,
Yeah,
that's a big fucking deal. And I think Ricky Starks, he has the charisma. Obviously, he can wrestle. He's great on the fucking microphone. There's not
yes.
You can't name 5 guys that are probably better on the mic than Ricky Starks. But no,
Hmm.
it's great. I think he's going to be elevated to another level. I would want to see him part of the AEW title picture too.
Hmm.
Are you not crazy about MJF? I don't really know your opinion on MJF. What do you think about him? You named him as a pillar, but you do like him though?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I love MJF.
Okay.
I mean, for somebody so young to be that friggin' talented on the mic is insane. Like it's just insane what he can do on that mic.
It's
And
a
he's a good wrestler.
and he's a good wrestler. A good wrestler.
Mm.
I think his mic skills outshine his in-ring work a
Yes,
little bit,
totally.
but I think that's okay
But
because
I think a lot of the greats, oh, not a lot, a couple of the greats did that too.
I mean it worked out for him. It got him the championship. So you really
Yep.
can't say
Yep.
anything about that. No, MJF, I do like him. I didn't like him in the beginning, but he grew on me a little bit because of this promo work. I do wish he would wrestle kind of like a little more than he does.
Hmm.
He wrestles too infrequently, but I do like MJF to an extent. Do I
Yeah.
want to see him as the main champion? No, I
Hmm.
don't. I don't think he's not that he's not championship material, but I think they're better guys for that title. And I think he's going to
Yeah.
carry it. He's not going to lose that double or nothing. He's going to
Mm-mm.
beat, your non-pillars, your artwork or whatever, or the bricks around the pillar. He's going to beat the bricks
Hmm.
and he's going to retain the title. Now, what do you think about the CM Punk situation? Do you want to see him back? Do you not want to see him back? Do you care? Or you just want to be done with him entirely?
I just want this whole will he come back? Will he not come back? Where's he going? Just be over with. I don't care if you want to come back. If you want to come back, great. If you don't want to come back, okay, shut up. Let's move on.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
you basically just over it. You just want to either come back and just go with it or just be done with it completely so we can fucking move on from all these rumors that we see every single day.
oh my God, yeah, like the dirt sheet writers are having like a field day with this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he clapped back at him too a little bit. He's saying, you guys don't know jack shit. You don't know what's going on. You don't know us. Don't assume anything
yeah,
because you have really no idea. And that I would normally that I would say that's almost like some bitterness in him, but I think he has a point to that because we really don't know. We're just assuming what we
no, and
actually
I've
know that
noticed
happens.
a lot of wrestlers are actually starting to clap back at the dirt sheet writers
Yeah.
and calling them out, which is great. Like more people need to do that.
Well, I think that's a good thing. I think because you don't want to assume and what's going on in someone's personal life. And when it comes to the CM Punk situation, I've said this before that I was a fan of his 10 plus years ago. I'm a fan of his now. I do find myself
Mhm.
defending him more often than I should, but at a certain point, you're like, enough is enough. Like, even if it's the guy you love or the woman you love to such an extent, it's like make a fucking decision already. Either you're gonna come back or you're not gonna come back. And
Yeah,
see these rumors every single day, it weighs on the fan. It weighs on me, and I don't have to talk about it all the time. I'm sure Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez and JD from New York and all these motherfuckers that have a podcast and everybody else are tired of talking about it too. So
exactly.
yeah, it's exhausting. I want to see him back in the ring because I think it's good for business. Basically, it's good for
It
AEW.
is.
You got a huge summer coming up. You need him to be a part of it. You need him to be a part of your debut show, which I hope is going to be in the United Center. I'm praying to fucking God it is.
Could be in Toronto.
No, they already got Toronto booked. Not for June 17th.
Yeah. But
So,
he could show up June 24th.
a week after the debut. That would be kind of weird.
Maybe,
Like
maybe he
you
shows up
have a
at
debut
Forbidden
show,
Door.
but we're gonna hold you off for the second episode. Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure to have you.
Yes,
And
thanks for having me.
yeah, sure, no problem. And hopefully we could do this again some other time. We'll have plenty to talk about. I know you're going to be going to Forbidden Door. You're probably going to be going Collision. You can come back on the show. We could talk about that. You can come back on the show any other time. And it was great talking to you. You want to say bye? All right.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
All right,
It's a
no
great time.
problem. I am Neal Pretty Boy Thomas. This is the Marking Out Network. This is my poochies knocking down my pillow. I'm gonna end it right now. I am out. Bye-bye.